Lord, here I am, this Wednesday morning in the middle of this week, halfway between what has already been lived and what still remains to be faced. Here I am before you, not with prepared speeches, not with polished words that I would save for special occasions, but with who I am this morning, with what I carry, with what I do not yet understand. You have gone before me into this day. Before my alarm even rang, you were already in this Wednesday. You already knew every hour that awaits me, every conversation, every decision, every crossroads, where I will have to choose a direction without being sure it's the right one. You knew them all, and you were already there, ahead of me, preparing the way. So, before asking for anything, before confessing or laying anything down, I just want to pause here, on this threshold of the morning, in this space between night and day, and acknowledge that you are here, that you saw me get up, that you saw me open my eyes, that you saw me hesitate before stepping into this day, and that you are here, patient, present, without reproach. I come to you this Wednesday with a particular request on my heart. An ancient request, as old as Solomon at Gibeon, as old as the Apostle James, who writes, "If any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to him." Generously without finding fault. God does not sigh when I come back to ask for wisdom. He doesn't roll his eyes to heaven saying, "Him again, her again," always the same questions. He gives generously, as if my request were the most natural thing in the world. This morning, Lord, I ask for wisdom. Before receiving anything, I want to look to you as the source of all wisdom, because that is what you are. You are the God whose wisdom presided over the creation of the world. When you separated the waters above from the waters below, when you suspended the earth in the void without pillar, without visible support, simply set in space by your word, when you established the laws of physics, the cycles of the seasons, the dance of the planets around the stars, when you designed the human body with its billions of cells, its systems interwoven with one another with a precision that science continues to discover again and again, never exhausting its depth. All of this, every detail, every law, every fragile and magnificent balance came from your wisdom. Proverbs say that wisdom was with you at the beginning, that she was at your side like an architect, that she rejoiced with you in your works, that she played before you at all times. Wisdom is not an abstraction, it is not a list of good decisions, it is not a method. It is something living, something that is in you, that comes from you, and that you can place within me. You are the God whose wisdom infinitely surpasses my own. Isaiah heard you say, "My thoughts are not your thoughts, and your ways are not my ways. As the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts higher than your thoughts." And this distance, far from crushing me, reassures me, because the God whose thoughts infinitely surpass my own is also the God who wants to share them with me, who wants to teach me, who wants to guide me, who says in Psalm 32, "I will instruct you and show you the way you should go. I will counsel you, my eye will be upon you." You want to show me the way. You don't leave me to guess it. You don't let me wander in the dark, hoping that I might stumble upon the right path by chance. You get involved, you advise, you guide. I praise you for that this morning. I praise you because you are not a silent God. You are not a God who created everything and then withdrew into Olympian silence, indifferent to what your creatures do with their freedom. You speak, you guide, you instruct. Through your word, this ocean of wisdom in which I can dive every morning and never reach the bottom. Through your Spirit, the Comforter, the Paraclete, the one whom Jesus said would be sent to guide us into all truth. Through the community of believers, these brothers and sisters whose collective wisdom, accumulated through prayer and trials, is a treasure I often underestimate. Through the circumstances themselves, even the difficult ones, even the incomprehensible ones that have this strange ability to reveal what comfort never shows. You are wise, Lord, with a wisdom that has no origin because it is your very nature, with a wisdom that never runs out because it is infinite, with a wisdom that never errs because it sees everything, understands everything, embraces everything in a unique and sovereign vision. I praise you for this wisdom and I ask you for it. I ask you for it as Solomon did, with the awareness that I cannot live well, choose well, love well, or serve well without it. Lord, before receiving, I must confess. To confess honestly, without evasion, the ways in which I have lived according to my own wisdom rather than yours. I admit to you that I often act too quickly, that I make decisions before consulting you, that I sometimes find myself in the middle of a path I chose on my own and realize too late that I never asked you if it was truly the right one. There is within me this reflex of autonomy, this reflex that says, I can handle it, I know the situation, I've already experienced something similar, I don't need to stop and pray. And that reflex costs me. It costs me mistakes I could have avoided. It costs me words spoken too quickly that I cannot take back. It costs me directions taken without a compass, which have led me further away rather than closer to what you wanted for me. I admit to you that my wisdom is often tinged with what I want, that when I look for an answer to a difficult question, I sometimes look for the answer that suits me and call it discernment, that I can convince myself of almost anything if the motivation is strong enough, that my heart, as Jeremiah says, is deceitful above all things, that I lie to myself with an ease I would rather not face. I admit to you that I sometimes have trouble distinguishing your voice from my own, that I have attributed to your spirit thoughts that actually came from my fear, that I have called peace what was in reality just avoidance, that I have called divine guidance what was simply the path of least resistance for me. Forgive me for this, Lord. Forgive me for the times I used your name to validate my own choices. Forgive me for the times I closed my eyes to what you are clearly saying because it didn't suit me. And forgive me for the times I refused the wisdom that came from others. Those moments when someone, a friend, a spouse, a spiritual brother, told me something true, just, and necessary, and my pride built a wall, when my ego said no before my reason even had time to listen, when I preferred to be wrong alone rather than be right with someone else's help. Wisdom is often found in the mouths of those around us, and I have let it pass by too many times. This morning, I receive forgiveness for all of that. Through the cross of Jesus Christ, who is himself, as Paul says, the wisdom of God, I am forgiven. The slate is wiped clean. The past is no longer a condemnation. It becomes a school, and I come out of this confession not crushed, but set free. Freed to ask for what I have asked for poorly, freed to receive what I have so often refused. So I ask, Lord, I ask, as James taught me, without hesitation, believing that you will answer. Let him ask in faith, without doubting, for the one who doubts is like a wave of the sea, blown and tossed by the wind. I ask with faith, the faith that you are a God who answers, the faith that you do not keep wisdom for yourself like a jealously guarded treasure, the faith that you want, even more than I do, for me to walk rightly through this day. Give me, Lord, the wisdom to distinguish between what is urgent and what is important, because this Wednesday will present both to me, mixed together, tangled up, both demanding my attention at the same time. The urgent shouts, the important whispers. And if I am not careful, I will spend my day putting out real or imagined fires without ever touching what truly matters. Give me the eyes to see the difference. Give me the courage to ignore what does not need me and to devote myself to what truly does. Give me the wisdom of words. This Wednesday I will speak. I will have conversations, some light, some heavy. There will be few, but one in particular will demand more from me than the others. A difficult conversation, or an important conversation, or both at the same time. Lord, let my words be measured. Let me not speak out of impulse. Let me not speak out of fear. Let me not speak just to fill the silence when silence would be wiser, but also let me not keep silent when it is time to speak, to tell the truth, to open my heart, to name what must be named. Always true in love, that's Paul's formula. Truth and love, both together. Not brutal truth without love, which wounds without healing. Not love without truth, which protects without setting free. Both. Always both. Give me that balance today. Grant me the wisdom of timing. Because the right thing at the wrong time can do as much damage as the wrong thing. There are truths that are true, but not yet ready to be heard. There are actions that are good, but it's not yet the right time. There are decisions that are just, but they still need a bit more maturing before being made. Ecclesiastes says, "There is a time for everything under heaven, a time to speak and a time to be silent, a time to act and a time to wait, a time to move forward and a time to stand still." Lord, grant me sensitivity to timing. Give me this sense of kairos, this right moment, this given moment, this moment that does not come again, so that I do not miss what you have prepared for me today. Grant me the wisdom to recognize my limits. Perhaps this is the most difficult wisdom of all, to recognize that I do not know everything, that my point of view is partial, that the map I have of reality is not reality itself, that others see things I do not see, not because they are better than me, but because they are positioned differently. That intellectual humility is not a weakness, it is a condition for wisdom. You cannot learn what you think you already know. You cannot receive what you take for granted. May my hands be open this morning, open to being proven wrong, corrected, enriched, surprised. Grant me the wisdom of inner silence. This Wednesday will probably be noisy. Noisy with notifications, demands, thoughts jostling for attention, and everyone's opinions. In all this noise, teach me to maintain a space of inner silence, a space where your voice can still be heard. Not necessarily an audible voice, but that peace that settles in when I am in your will, that slight tension that warns me when I stray from it, that deep feeling, deeper than surface emotions, that says yes or no with a clarity nothing else can imitate. Keep this space within me, protect it from the noise. Lord, I now pray for those I carry in my heart, and I pray for them with the same request, wisdom, because it is the universal need, because behind almost every human suffering, there is somewhere a poorly made decision, a path poorly discerned, a moment when wisdom was lacking. I pray for those who have an important decision to make right now. You know who they are. Many of them are among those watching this video. Some have been hesitating for weeks. Some are paralyzed by the fear of making a mistake. Some have already decided, but a nagging worry keeps them from finding peace. Lord, clarify, speak, give them the sign they are seeking, or grant them the faith to move forward without a sign and protect them from paralysis, because sometimes the enemy of wisdom is not making the wrong choice, but making no choice at all. I pray for parents, for those fathers and mothers who bear the immense responsibility of guiding children in a complex world, who do not always know when to be firm and when to be flexible, who do not always know whether their child needs more space or more presence, who love deeply and are afraid of making mistakes despite all that love. Lord, grant them the wisdom of Solomon for their household. Give them eyes to see their children as they are, not as they wish them to be. Grant them the patience to listen before speaking, and the grace to acknowledge their own mistakes in front of their children. That rare and precious wisdom that says, "I was wrong, forgive me." I pray for the young people, for those who are at the beginning of their adult lives and who face a maze of choices. What career? Which city? Which relationship? Which direction? And who, in a culture that shouts at them from one side, "Follow your passion," and from the other, "Be realistic," no longer really know how to discern God's path amid all the noise. Lord, be their compass. Speak to them clearly. Protect them from the imitations of worldly wisdom that look like the real thing but lead elsewhere. I pray for those who lead in churches, in businesses, in families, in governments, for those who make decisions that affect other lives, who carry this immense weight, often alone, often misunderstood, often criticized, no matter what decision they make. Lord, give them the wisdom of Solomon, a heart that knows how to listen before judging, eyes that can see what others do not yet see, and the humility to surround themselves with people who speak the truth, even when the truth is uncomfortable. I pray for those who are in conflict right now. These wounded relationships in couples, in families, in communities where two people look at the same reality and see completely different things, where each is convinced they are right, where communication has been reduced to exchanges of defenses and accusations. Lord, send your wisdom into these spaces. Give each person the ability to see the other's point of view, to truly see it, not just tolerate it. Grant the humility to say, maybe you are right about this. Maybe my way of seeing things is incomplete. Maybe reconciliation is possible if someone takes the first step, and maybe that someone could be me. Finally, I pray for those who are seeking God without yet knowing Him. These men, these women, these young people who ask the big questions, who look at the world and feel that something is wrong, who feel a deep hunger that no human answer can satisfy, who may have tried philosophy, psychology, alternative spiritualities, and who are still searching. Lord, you are the wisdom they are seeking. Even when they do not yet know that it is you, lead them to you this Wednesday, through a book, through an encounter, through a video, through a thought that arises at an unexpected moment. Lead them to the wisdom that has a face, the face of Jesus Christ. Lord, I offer you this Wednesday, this day that is exactly in the middle of the week, neither the beginning nor the end. This day that some call hump day, the moment when the fatigue of the week begins to be felt, when the momentum of Monday has faded and the weekend still seems far away. I offer you this ordinary day because it is in ordinary days that the essential part of life takes place. I offer you my thoughts this morning, those that are already present, the planning, the anticipation, the little anxieties. May your wisdom guide the way I think today. May my thoughts be filtered by what Paul calls whatever is true, honorable, just, pure, lovely, of good repute. May my mind be a healthy space, not a place of constant worry, fruitless rumination, or catastrophic scenarios. Guard my thoughts, Lord. I offer you my relationships for this day. Every person I will encounter at work, at home, in the street, or on a screen. Every face is an image of God. Every human being is someone for whom Christ died. Help me to see them that way. Help me not to reduce people to what they do to me, what they bring me, or what they cost me, but to see them as you see them. Precious, complex, loved. I offer you my choices this Wednesday. Even the small ones, even those that seem so trivial, it would seem absurd to mention them to you. Because I believe, and this belief changes everything, I believe that you are interested in the details of my life, that you are not only the God of big decisions and major crises. You are the God of the everyday, of ordinary details, of hallway conversations, of choosing whether or not to reply, of the moments when we stop for someone or not. Be present in those details today. I offer you what I still do not understand, those shadowy areas in my life where your logic escapes me, those circumstances that still don't make sense, those prayers that seem to have gone unanswered, those closed doors for which I still don't know whether they are shut for good or just for now. I offer you my lack of understanding. This Wednesday morning, I choose, by an act of will rooted in trust, I choose to believe that you see what I cannot see, that your plan is coherent even when it is unreadable to me, that the puzzle piece I hold in my hand has a place in a picture I may only see in eternity, and that this is enough. And now, Lord, I receive. I receive your wisdom not as information, but as a presence, not as a list of rules to follow, but as an inner light that illuminates the path step by step. I receive discernment, this gift from your Spirit. the ability to see beyond appearances, to sense when something is right or wrong even before I can explain it rationally, to recognize your voice amid the noise of the world, to distinguish what builds up from what destroys, what sets free from what enslaves, what comes from you from what comes from elsewhere. Lord, sharpen this discernment within me. I receive clarity for the questions that are occupying my mind right now. You know which ones. They are clearer to you than to me. Those blurry areas where I need to see more clearly. Those situations where I am waiting for a sign, a confirmation, a peace to settle in. I receive the clarity that you are willing to give me, in your timing, in your way. And I also receive, because sometimes that's what you give, the ability to walk without complete clarity. The faith to take the next step even when I can't yet see the whole path. I receive humility, that grace of not knowing everything and being at peace with it, of not needing to have all the answers in order to move forward, of being able to say, I don't know, without it being a defeat, of being able to say, I need help without it being a shame. Humility is not self-effacement. It is the clear awareness of who I am before you and before others, no more and no less. I receive the courage of wisdom because sometimes the wise thing is also the difficult thing. Sometimes wisdom says, go have that conversation you've been avoiding for too long. Sometimes wisdom says, stop what isn't good for you, even if it's comfortable. Sometimes wisdom says, say no here so you can say yes there. Sometimes wisdom says, wait, even when everything in you wants to act. Give me the courage to obey wisdom even when it costs me something. I receive your presence as my ultimate wisdom, because deep down, when all is said and done, the deepest wisdom is simply knowing that you are here, that you are in control, that you are working, that you are holding on, that this Wednesday is not a day left to chance. It is in your hand and I am with it. Lord, before entering this Wednesday, I want to make a declaration, not from my own strength. From my faith, I declare this morning that your wisdom is available to me, that it is not reserved for theologians, elders, or people who have read and understood everything. It is for me. Today, on this ordinary Wednesday, if anyone lacks wisdom, let them ask God for it. I have asked, and you give it generously without reproach. I receive it. I declare that I will not walk alone today, that the Holy Spirit, the one Jesus calls the Spirit of truth, is with me, that he will guide me into all truth, that he will remind me of what I need to remember at the right time, that he will intercede for me in situations where I don't know how to pray. I am not alone in my decisions. I am not alone in my conversations. I am not alone in my uncertainties. I declare that I choose humility today, that when I feel the urge to insist on being right, I will stop myself, that when someone offers me a different perspective, I will truly listen, that when I don't know, I will say that I don't know, and that when you speak in any form whatsoever, I will be quiet enough to hear. Finally, I declare, and this is the central declaration of this Wednesday morning, that your wisdom is better than mine. Not just a little better, infinitely better, as high as the heavens are above the earth, and so relying on it rather than on my own is not an abdication. It is the wisest decision I can make, that this Wednesday be marked by your wisdom, Lord, in every word I speak, in every decision I make, in every silence I keep, in every step I take, whether seen or unseen, important or ordinary. May the people who encounter me today see in me something they cannot yet name, a way of being present, a way of listening, a way of responding under pressure, a way of remaining gentle where others grow hard. May that very thing be your living wisdom in me, visible around me, for your glory. Amen. You prayed, you asked for wisdom, and you heard that request. You can enter this Wednesday differently than you would have without this prayer. Not because everything is resolved, not because you now know everything you didn't before, but because you have once again recognized that you are not alone, that you don't have to carry everything with your own resources, that God's infinite wisdom is available to you today, in this ordinary midweek day. Carry this thought with you today. When a decision comes up, big or small, take a second, just 1 second, and ask inwardly, Lord, enlighten me. 2 words, 1 second. That's all it takes to reopen the channel between your heart and his. And tonight, when you look back on this Wednesday, you'll notice there were moments when something guided you in a way you can't fully explain. A word that came at just the right time, a restraint that kept you from making a mistake, an opportunity you wouldn't have noticed without a certain inner openness. That will be his wisdom working silently, faithfully, just as it always does when we make room for it. See you tomorrow morning.